if you guys can hear that noise.
Time to bring them in.
Thank God, we'll be saved by Clark Kent, the pink punk, mega porn stash man, the mighty crossdresser, and elderly woman. Or, rather, welcome one and all to Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Paraphrase Yahtzee of zero punctuation, once a series goes into space, everything else just feels like a step backwards. I don't really agree with it, but it was probably on the forefront of the producers' minds when creating Lost Galaxy, hence why we got a space opera revolving around powers that had more to do with animals than with anything space-related. Lightspeed Rescue was also purportedly planned as a space-themed series as well, but for one reason or another it was decided to make it Earth-based again. The series begins with Operation Lightspeed, where we see three potentially Caucasian men in Arab attire stumbling upon a buried chamber in the desert. I say potentially because I can't find any information about who these actors are, so I might be entirely wrong, but it feels like the kind of thing Power Rangers would accidentally do in casting. The three discover a casket and push the lid open, revealing it to be the Ark of the Covenant. Nah, just kidding, but it's not that different actually. A group of multicolored spirits emerge from the casket and fly off. The Lightspeed theme song is, once again, just okay. It has some addictive elements,
the theme song
but
is
it's
so
once again
awesome.
not anything special.
But you know, it's falling, a planet is falling, the danger of world rescue, better make it a Lightspeed rescue. Power Rangers Lightspeed rescue. Power Rangers Lightspeed rescue. Power Rangers Lightspeed rescue. Light speed, go.
The spirits emerge in the city of Mariner Bay and start attacking. We immediately cut to some sort of military facility where the person in charge, Captain Mitchell, is informed of the spirits being freed. He says it's time to bring them in, and we cut to our new team. First up is Joel Rawlings, the Sky Cowboy, a famous stunt pilot. Next is Kelsey Winslow, who's climbing a mountain only to be met by the men in black at the top. Third is Chad Lee, a SeaWorld performer. Finally, there's Carter Grayson, a firefighter in the middle of rescuing a little girl from a burning building. After grabbing the girl, he spots a monster and leaps out of the building to save the girl. The fifth member is the one who's actually been recruiting them, a paramedic named Dana Mitchell, the captain's daughter. We then get to meet, rather quickly, our villains. It seems that Mariner Bay was built on top of a demonic temple, isn't that just the way? And the demons, led by a creature named Diabolico, must care for a demon infant named Impus until the true leader, Queen Banshira, can return. The five are brought to a submarine and subsequently led to an underwater facility called the Lightspeed Aquabase. It's pretty high-tech, especially since the flat-screen panels look rather similar to the ones used on the Astro Megaship. One of the rumors about this series' production was that the Zords and technology were developed after being reverse-engineered from old destroyed Zords of the Rangers, but it was discarded because the producers wanted the show to have as little reference to previous ones as possible, so it would be more accessible to new viewers. As we'll see throughout Power Rangers' run, any attempts at trying to make the series not be connected to any other Ranger series whatsoever, or try to tell the audience that it's a new universe or anything, is laughed off by the fans, myself included. I'm sorry, but we We like continuity. We like seeing the next part of the story and figuring out how things place together. As such, I'll stand by the reverse-engineered Ranger Tech explanation. Well, that plus the fact that their communicators at least once have the same beep as the ones from in space. Anyway, Captain Mitchell explains about the demons who were locked away by a warlock 5,000 years ago.
Lightspeed has developed technology and highly sophisticated weapons that we believe can stop them. Because of your skills, you've been chosen to use these weapons to defend the city. To become Lightspeed Power Rangers.
Joel doesn't believe them and wants to leave, but Carter explains about what he saw in the burning building. The group is shown footage of the spirits terrorizing people, and the four instantly volunteer. They're given their rescue morphers, which are sadly unimpressive to me. Nothing really wrong with them, it's just their flipping open seems so small. The group is given spiffy team jackets and look out, it's Tankenstein! And are sent off to deal with the demons. The demons as foot soldiers, the Batlings, begin their attack on the people. The five try to fight, with Carter going straight for just trying to run over the fire monster. I instantly like this guy, though he does get tossed around, as do the rest of the Rangers. Captain Mitchell instructs them to morph.
Lightspeed, rescue!
Different about this series is that the five morph in plain sight. None of that secret identity stuff. And I've got to say, I wasn't really fond of the suits at first. I think it's just the pattern on the chest. Once again, too much white and not enough of their colors. Though admittedly, it's better than the all-white torsos of the Galaxy Rangers. The outfits grew on me. However, I've come to realize why the suits look so familiar. Apparently, Lightspeed is funded by the Umbrella Corporation. But the other thing that's kind of off-putting is that these are the first helmets without a sculpted mouth. Which makes sense. These were designed by a military organization for function, not aesthetics. The morphing sequence also bugs me, passing through what looks like goo before they take shape. I wish I could describe what exactly it is that's off-putting about it, but it just doesn't feel right. With their new powers, the Rangers are able to fight off the Batlings and the monster, who bears a striking resemblance to Psycho Red's monster form. Something else to note is that the Lightspeed team is also quicker to use their blasters to destroy the monster, even doing a kick-ass gun twirl before holstering them. The five return to the Aqua Base, where Captain Mitchell tells them that they've got a lot of work ahead of them. Operation Lightspeed is fast, though it of course has to be. It has to introduce the Rangers, the enemies, and the concept of the show very quickly, and then move on to the next bits. In many ways, it feels reminiscent of Day of the Dumpster, with the mentor figure of Captain Mitchell introducing a group of normal people to a bizarre war with powers and abilities far beyond what they're accustomed to, especially when they need to use their morphers in order to defeat the foot soldiers. The villains, however, have only one scene, and it's basically just exposition. We learn nothing about them as individuals, and there's nothing particularly interesting revealed about them in the first episode. Vipra could have potentially been the most interesting, but instead...
In my Viparis, I'm invincible.
Admittedly, a big part of that is the acting. This woman is so boring it hurts. When she's trying to express an emotion, she can barely speak above a normal tone.
So our Queen Bashura will rise. Again.
Being subdued isn't a problem if that's how you're written. As I said, Astronema and Trakina were at their best when they were first introduced and underplayed. But if you're trying to act over the top and instead just sound bored, then you're turning in a bad performance. Her face conveys nothing, and even after she gives off an evil laugh, it just returns to a blank expression. In the following episodes, we meet Jinxer, the finster of the new evil forces, who can create monsters by tossing out Magic the Gathering cards and using an incantation to summon the monster from them. Another difference for this season is that this Ranger team is a military operation, though begging the question of why the other four weren't recruited from their own ranks instead of seeking out civilians, with human-made Power Ranger technology, and the Aqua Base has a full staff of people ready to assist them. The Rangers themselves don't make much of an impression, save for Carter and Joel. Joel comes off as a douche, at least until he steps up to join the fight against the demons, and Carter is a little bland at first, but clearly heroic and selfless, which makes him a perfect fit for the Red Ranger position. In the next episode, we're introduced to Dr. Fairweather, the scientist in charge of the weapons lab of the Aqua Base, and the one who invented the rescue morphers. She also invents the team's Zords.
These are your rail rescues. Trains?
Sure, why not? We had cars for a season, so why not trains? Unlike previous teams whose knowledge of how to pilot the Zords seems built into their powers, Fairweather explains that the rail rescues are designed to automatically assist the Rangers in their piloting. We also see them being deployed. And boy, it takes a while for those things to get to the surface. I'm sure half the city's been reduced to smoldering rubble by the time they finally get underway. Still, this thing is friggin' awesome, linking up to form one giant flying train. The rail rescues, in turn, deploy individual vehicles for them to pilot that become the Megazord. I admit, I don't mind this as much as I did Turbo's vehicle-based Zords. With them, it seemed just bizarre that a wizard who continually utilized animal, or for the Zeozords, cannon-based weaponry for the occasional separate Zord mission, would suddenly switch over to race cars and SUVs for the designs. And yes, I know, limited by the Sentai footage, but then again, they weren't under any obligation to use Car Rangers as opposed to any of the other Sentai that had come before Power Rangers. In this case, it was a government operation that designed their weapons, so it would make sense that they designed them around vehicles. Of course, there are a number of filler episodes after the premiere, but aside from character development I'll get to at the end, only one really deserves notice. In Cyborg Rangers, Captain Mitchell's superior officer, General McKnight, comes in with a group of androids to replace the Lightspeed team, since they have superior strength and purportedly can't make mistakes. Of course, Dr. Fairweather gives the cliched, but they haven't got a heart bullcrap. But really, their flaw becomes apparent when they fight a monster and a blast causes them to malfunction and turn on their creators. The Rangers, of course, retrieve their powers and destroy the Cyborg Rangers. Unsurprisingly, no one makes any effort to perfect the android tech so they can at least have backup in case they need a rescue or assistance. However, its real significance, with the Rangers gladly willing to join in to help even without their powers, will be more significant in a later video. And really, the heart thing, while stupidly cliched, is more of a fact that the human factor plays a larger role in the Rangers than just combating Diabolico. The Rangers are frequently seen not just fighting monsters, but actively helping people who are harmed by the monster attacks, be it in aftermath or while the attack is in progress. The cyborgs are controlled from a single large remote controller and are clearly for combat only. And while it's bizarre that normal rescue services are apparently not around a lot of the time, there's a reason it's called Lightspeed Rescue. They're meant to be fast-deploying rescue services who can service both a defensive and offensive force. After some filler episodes, Queen Benchira's spirit contacts her forces and resurrects a few monsters that severely damage the rescue Megazord. However, Dr. Fairweather has been working on a new weapon, the Super Train Megazord. The rail rescues are reconfigured so that they form the new Megazord, and the sequence is just badass as the rail rescues fly through the air. Oh, did I mention the thing is frickin' huge and fires missiles and Gatling cannons and turbine lasers? The story continues in From Deep in the Shadows. Carter is given a new experimental titanium morpher, but the test is unsuccessful as he's unable to fully morph and is hurt in the process. They decide not to continue testing the morpher and lock it in a safe in Captain Mitchell's office, which seems to be their attitude about any of their tech that doesn't work right away. We also learn that Captain Mitchell had a son named Ryan who died in a car crash. That night, someone sneaks onto the Aqua Base, not an easy feat considering the base is underwater and all, and gets into the safe to steal the titanium morpher, though one wonders how he knew it was in the safe. During an attack, Vipra summons the Titanium Ranger.
To the morpher.
Who are you?
I'm your worst nightmare.
The Titanium Ranger is damn strong, easily tossing around the Rangers. His weapon is a gun that transforms into an axe, which, as we've established, melee weapons that become guns are frickin' awesome. And no, gun blades do not count. It's not a gun that transforms into a sword. It's a sword that's hilt is shaped like a gun, which is stupid. They retreat, but aren't able to figure out who could have taken the powers, though Joel speculates that someone inside of Lightspeed might have done it. In their next confrontation, the Rangers utilize a new weapon, the V-Lancers, which temporarily opens the Titanium Ranger's visor. Captain Mitchell recognizes him despite the face mask he's wearing underneath it. The captain orders the group to withdraw, the Titanium Ranger, despite being injured, demanding they continue to fight. Captain Mitchell reveals that the Titanium Ranger is his son. He explains that in the car crash, they went over a cliff, but he managed to hang onto a root. Dana had her arms around his shoulders and neck, but Ryan was holding onto his foot and starting to slip. Diabolico appeared and said he'll save Ryan, but only if his life belongs to him. After Ryan falls, Mitchell screams for Diabolico to save him, and Diabolico promises that he won't see his son again until his 20th birthday. Admittedly, this is weird, since Diabolico was supposed to be sealed away in the casket, but it does make for a very good deal with the devil kind of thing, and it's very tragic. Diabolico tells Ryan that his father doesn't care about him, that he was going to let him fall, and that he only loves his daughter. When the Titanium Ranger appears and goes on a rampage, Dana goes off to confront him. It seems like she's getting through to him at first, but when the other Rangers appear, he retreats. Captain Mitchell and Ryan meet up, and it's revealed that he doesn't remember the circumstances behind the fall, Diabolico just telling him a different version of the events. However, when Ryan tackles him off of a cliff and they're put in the same situation, he suddenly remembers. The tree won't support their combined weight, and Captain Mitchell decides to drop down and save his son. However, Ryan drops and morphs, saving them. Ryan decides to leave Diabolico, but he takes off the titanium morpher before he goes and gives it to his father. Ryan tells Captain Mitchell that he's leaving Mariner Bay so he can find out who he is and whether or not he's truly good. The captain hands him a box, telling him to open it when he realizes that he is good. At first, he plans to leave the city on a bus, but when he hears of an emergency caused by Diabolico's latest plan, he runs back, saves a family, and opens the box to reveal his titanium morpher. He morphs and helps save the Rangers from 3 of Diabolico's monsters. Ryan joins up with Lightspeed, but that night, Ryan has a dream where Diabolico burns a snake tattoo into his back.
From now on, every time you morph, the Cobra will move up your body closer and closer. No! Until it reaches your neck. And destroys you.
When he wakes up, the tattoo is still there. Instead of doing, the sensible thing and telling someone about the tattoo, he just proceeds to happily leap into battle alongside the other Rangers despite the risk. All during the fight, the Cobra moves up his body, harming him along the way. Strangely, during this episode, we also see the Super Train Megazord and the Lightspeed Megazord together at the same time, even though the previous times they summoned the Super Train Megazord, they needed the individual Zords inside of the Super Train. Queen Banshira, contacting Diabolico, informs him that she's tired of how long it's taking to deal with things, and swears that if he doesn't destroy Mariner Bay, she'll transfer his powers over to her son. Diabolico, refusing to allow an infant to have his star power, unleashes his 3 most powerful monsters on the Rangers. The first is destroyed by the previously mentioned team-up of the 2 Megazords. Carter reveals to Ryan that he saw the tattoo moving during the fight, and Ryan explains about it. He doesn't want to tell his father because it's the first chance he's had to do something good and doesn't want his dad to pull him from Ranger duties. However, Captain Mitchell overhears from outside the room someone seriously needs to install soundproofing in the Aqua base, and comes in telling him that he has to bench him until they can get rid of it, since he won't lose him again. Fairweather develops a new Zord, the Max Solar Zord, but it's designed to be operated by the Titanium Ranger. As the Rangers fight the remaining 2 monsters, and are swiftly smacked around, Ryan steals the Max Solar Zord to go help them. The Solar Zord actually heads into space and goes towards the sun, charging its solar panels before assuming a humanoid form. He destroys the monsters, but passes out due to the strain of the Cobra. Examination of Ryan reveals that if he morphs one more time, it'll kill him. Strangely, no one takes his morpher away from him so he doesn't do something stupid. Diabolico unleashes a combined version of his 3 monsters against the Rangers, but luckily Dr. Fairweather now has yet another weapon, Battle Boosters, which are essentially battleizers for the Rangers, though there isn't any advanced armor when they're introduced. Ryan, in the meantime, decides to do something about the Cobra and realizes that the Cobra also came from the tomb where Diabolico was imprisoned. He heads there and takes on a monster version of the Cobra in order to lift the curse. Diabolico takes on the Rangers himself and just walks through the Super Train Megazord's weapons. He cuts a huge hole in the Super Train Megazord, forcing the Rangers to abandon it and go into the Lightspeed Megazord. Ryan, in the meantime, defeats the Cobra monster and lifts the curse, heading out to aid the other Rangers. By plugging the battle boosters into the Lightspeed Megazord, the Solar Zord combines with it. The Lightspeed Solar Zord absorbs Diabolico's blasts and sends it back at him.
This can't be happening. Oh, sure it can, Diabolico. Fight! You've done the impossible. You've defeated the mighty Diabolico. But be assured that Queen Banshiro will avenge my defeat 1,000-fold.
Diabolico's power transfers into the baby Impus, who becomes encased in a cocoon. Queen Banshira contacts the Rangers.
Diabolico proved himself unworthy, but I assure you my son will not.
Your son? Impus.
Behold my heir, and you're destructible.
So guys, that was my reaction to Linkaras' history of Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue videos. So please be sure to comment down below, subscribe, hit the like button, press the notification bell to be notified about future videos, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.